Hello, everyone. Welcome to what could be the very first episode of what could be a long running series of my anime journey, as I would like to. I wouldn't like to say, but I mean, that's kind of what it is, I guess. Um, so basically, I've had an on and off kind of relationship with anime, and mostly when I was in high school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and watch anime that I watched when I was in school and give it a good old review. So we've got this Heaven's Lost Property, or Sora no Otoshimono. We've got Sword Art Online, which is every normie's seen that. And then we've got Rosario plus Vampire, and there's some isekai anime that I saw that was guys reborn into a world with only women, and I only saw 2 or 3 episodes of that, but I would like to go back and see that just out of interest. But I'm going to watch all those, and I am going to review them here and say what I liked, say what I didn't like, and basically, if you guys like this, then I'll start watching, something that you guys suggest. I don't know, One Piece or something. I don't know. Fuck it, I guess I'll watch it in a 1,000-part series. Why not? But I'll probably only continue on reviewing other things, if this is popular. So if we could get likes on these videos, comments, whatever, comment down below things that you would like to see me watch. Maybe I'll have a look. And without further ado, we'll get into the review of Heaven's Lost Property, or Sora no Atashimono. If you see me look this way, it's because I have all my notes here of important things to do with the series. So, Heaven's Lost Property, written by Sue Minazuki, who is apparently, he writes a lot of things in a very similar vein to Heaven's Lost Property, so I might go and watch some more of his stuff as well. So Heaven's Lost Property is the story of Tomoki Sakurai, who is the main protagonist. The story starts with his daily life in school and how he hates conflict, or how should I put this? He basically just wants peace in his life. So he he just kind of wants to just go through life, but he keeps having these strange dreams, and that promotes that initiates Sora, his childhood best friend Sora Mitsuki, to kind of push him to figure out this dream. So what ends up happening is Sora pushes him to meet with Ishiro Sugata, who is basically the head of this club in their school called the New World Discovery Club. And in looking for him, they run into the class president, Mikako Satsukitane. I'm probably butchering that. Yeah, so they meet her as Sugata is, about to perform a death-defying stunt. And yeah, so then they all end up meeting together about this dream and about the new world. And I forget why they go there, but Sugata tells him to go under where there's this big event. So there's this big hole that's over the earth, and Sugata says that is the new world, and it's patrolling around, and he tells Tomoki, sorry, that I gotta keep looking over because I'm really bad with names, especially when it comes to Japanese names. So he tells Tomoki to go under where the hole is during the night, because I guess that had something to do with his dream. It's been a minute since I've actually watched this, because it's been, like a couple days or whatever since I was able to record. So he goes there, and surprise, surprise, shit happens. It's an anime, shit happens. So a woman with wings falls from the sky and lands in a crater, and then a bunch of other shit falls down, and Tomoki has to battle with himself whether he wants, his life of peace and just leave, or go back and save the girl because other shit is raining down that could potentially have crushed her. And he ends up saving her, and this woman is Alpha Angeloid. Brother? Can you not? This woman is Alpha Angeloid Icaros. Or Icarus? I don't know. Because it's spelled with an O, not a U, like Icarus, the boy with the wings that burn up in the sun. It's Icaros is how it's always spelled. But I assume it's still Icarus? I don't know. It's interesting, because I haven't watched like the English pronunciation of the whatever, because I watch subs, not dubs. But in the show, I'm not really like keen on listening to that, whether or not they use an O sound or a U. So then that is all of the characters that are revealed in episode 1. So we have Tomoki Sakurai, Sora Mitsuki, Ishiro Sagata, Makako Satsukitane, something? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. That's the hardest name I've ever seen. And then we have Alpha Angeloid Icaros. So that's the initial 5. 6 if you count the girl in the dream, but you don't really know who she is yet. And this is a great concept to me, like from the get-go, from like looking at this. When I saw this when I was a kid to when I saw it now, this is, I think, like one of the better like anime like starts I've kind of seen. It's like an interesting hook. It gets your attention. You're like, what is the dream about? What is this girl? What is any of this? What is the hole in the sky? What is everything? And it just kind of like draws you into this world, sucks you in, and it like makes you interested. So now I want to go on to sort of like later stuff. So spoilers, obviously, for, stuff that happens later. So first I'm going to go through like other characters that are introduced. In hopefully, I think, the order that they're introduced, so bear with me. But if you don't want to get spoiled, turn off the video now, I guess, or maybe I'll put a timestamp of when you could come back. I don't know. But chances are the rest of this video will be spoilers for Heaven's Lost Property, Sora no Atashimano, by, what was it? Sue Minazuki. Obviously. I should keep that in my brain, because I really like his work so far. But here is a list of characters in order that they appear, I believe, in the show, and what their general roles are. So we'll go. So Master of Synopsis, otherwise known as Minos, that gets revealed really like late in the show, but it doesn't have any bearing on it. So he is like the guy who is. Well, actually, you don't even really know what Synapse is. So, the hole in the sky, and this is like a major, like kind of a major spoiler, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of like that there's something beyond the hole. But beyond the hole is Synapse, and Synapse is a place where all of the angeloids are like kind of at, and they're like. I think they're supposed to be like actual angels, and the angeloids are like they've like kind of like given up their freedom to do menial labor. I don't know really, because it seems like Minos is like an angel. He's not like an angeloid. I don't feel like. I feel like he's like something different to an angeloid. But like, there's a lot of other angeloids that are shown in the show, and they have like less free will or whatever. So I don't know if there's a difference or if they're all angeloids. I honestly don't know. I would love for this series to have gone on longer for me to figure that out, but I digress. I'll get into that more, and maybe I'll go into the story, and then I'll go into like what I liked and I didn't like at the end. So maybe there will be a timestamp for people to come back. So then we have we had the Master of Synapse, Minos. So he's the master. He's like the big bad, basically, of Heaven's Lost Property, in a way. So then we have the Dream Girl, otherwise known as Daedalus. Her name gets revealed at the same time as Minos' name in the manga, because I read the manga too. And so she is basically like on par with Minos. I don't know if she's an angeloid, the same way I don't know if Minos is. But she makes the angeloids, or had some role in making the angeloids alongside Minos. So she is kind of like the mother to the angeloids. So I don't know if she is one or not. I don't know if the angeloids have always been. It's kind of up in the air. So then we have angeloid code Beta, otherwise known as Nymph. So she's like a small, blue-haired, kind of like more of a petite girl who is specialized in like hacking, I guess. She's like she's more smart and in tune with her emotions than Alpha is, because Alpha is just kind of like strunk, kind of like, and more intelligent angeloid. Kind of, anyways. I guess that's what she's supposed to be, but she's not very well in tune with her emotions. But throughout the series, like, she doesn't really seem that smart, Alpha. But Beta is kind of like different, and you'll see that like other angeloids that are introduced are like more in tune with different things than other ones. All right, so then we have after Beta Nymph, we have Yoshitsune Hoon. I don't know if I'm saying that right either, but he is basically like a rich guy from the private school who is like a rival to the school that Tomoki is at, and everyone else. And he appears at various times for like a competition between the two schools. That's where like two of the songs in the show come from, is from like episodes he was in. So then we go on. We have the Gamma variant Harpies, they're two like Harpy-esque angeloids who are subservient to the Master of Synapse, Minos, up in Synapse. And in the anime, they are very like evil and irredeemable, which I feel like it makes it feel weird, kind of, that like all these angeloids that like come down are like they have redeemable qualities or whatever, and in the anime they seem completely irredeemable. They seem evil as hell, and there's not really a lot of talk about them being good. But in the manga, they are depicted as a lot more, like human, and kind of like you can kind of like feel what they're kind of going through. And I really like them. So they are like two harpy kind of girls, and they have these giant cannons that shoot like basically rail guns, like really hot and fast rounds. So then we're going on to Delta variant angeloid Estrella. So she is basically like, she is the the missing link between Beta and Alpha. So she is very strong in combat and very in touch with her emotions, but she is very dumb and very kind of like clumsy and whatnot, as initially shown in the anime. But in later in the anime and in the manga, she is very competent. So it's like, why was she so like, one of the like plot holes that I see is like, why was she so like kind of like clumsy when first she met Tomoki, but then later she's like geared up. But I don't know. I guess maybe something happened off screen I didn't see, or there's something I missed, or I don't know. Yeah, so then we'll get to Epsilon variant Angeloid Chaos. Now, she is the first Gen 2 that is introduced into the series. So all of the past Angeloids were Gen 1, but Gen 2 is apparently far superior somehow. I don't really know how. They don't really explain it. I guess their core is better or something, because all the Angeloids have like a core or something. But I guess like their overall power is greater than all the Generation 1s. And she ends up becoming one of, well, actually, scratch that. She's not one of the first big bads, but she's like, in the anime, she is kind of like the first like actually kind of insane like enemy that is kind of later redeemed. So she is kind of like on par with like the Harpies, in my opinion, in the anime and in the manga, I guess. But she is kind of redeemed throughout the course of the story, slightly, very slightly. But she is, to describe her, because actually I didn't describe Delta Estrella either. Delta Estrella is like a bountiful, blonde-haired angeloid. And that's kind of like all I'll say about that. But Epsilon Chaos is kind of like a more of a like a lolly sort of like a little girl, basically, with blonde hair, and she's wearing a nun's outfit, whatever you call that, like from a nunnery. And she's got instead of her having like feathered wings or fairy wings or whatever, she has like giant, like dark, like metal blades for wings. So then we're going on to Angeloid version Zeta, otherwise known as Hiyori Kazane. One of the only Angeloids I feel like that has a first and last name. So she is kind of like a she is like an Angeloid who, spoilers, was living among the normal populace, and she had a crush on Tomoki, and that's why she was down like on the surface, like pretending to be a human, basically. And she later gets revealed as this, and in that she ends up becoming bad, because when she was revealed, she could no longer see Tomoki, but she was given this deal from the Master of Synapse to go back down to be able to see Tomoki if she killed all of humanity, as it were. Obviously, you know, since it's an anime, and like, you know, that can't really happen. It doesn't happen. And, you know, they win her over, and she becomes part of the, I guess, harem, as it will, of Angeloid girls in this anime, because this is basically just like a harem anime. So to describe her, she is basically like a teenage girl, kind of like the same age as Tomoki, with black, like bluish black hair, and she has like a bell like tied into like her hair with a ribbon, and she has like steampunky wings when she is in the show, or in the manga as well. So then we have Oregano, who I don't think she has a Angeloid class, or if she does, it's not really well established in the show. But she is also an Angeloid, and she is basically one of the subservient class of Angeloids from Synapse that had followed Sugata from Synapse when he went to visit through the dive game, which is I can maybe get into later. I don't know if I'm gonna get into all that. But followed him back through from Synapse, and she would become subservient under the class president. What was her name again? Mikako. We'll just say Mikako, because I feel like her last name is crazy. Mikako. So she is kind of like a nurse, or like a maid kind of uniform, like a mix between a nurse and a maid uniform type, like Angeloid. And she's got, I believe, like bluish purple hair. And for some reason she really doesn't like Beta or Nymph. And that's kind of her shtick. But then we finally have Angeloid class Theta, otherwise known as Milan. And this is kind of like the final bad of the series. It's a like second class Angeloid with a core that rivals even Alpha or Artemis. Artemis? Not Artemis. Fucking Icaros. I keep conflating the two, because she has the Artemis strike, but it's Icaros. So basically she like has a core like Icaros, because Icaros is like this, you know, mega powerful Angeloid. But Malon's core rivals even hers. So yeah, so she is kind of like the final bad, and she, I don't believe, gets redeemed in any kind of way. But to explain what she looks like, so there's basically several Thetas. The initial one looks like Icaros, but just has black wings and then black hair, a black halo, because Icaros kind of has, like, you know, she's more of like, she has white wings, she has pink hair, and she has a white halo when she's in combat mode. So she's kind of like the polar opposite of Icaros in that kind of way. So now that we've got all of the characters out of the way, let's get into kind of like what I liked about the story, what kind of plot lines I kind of liked, and the kind of like what I really liked out of the story. So I like the fact that, you know, there is just like this character growth that you can see throughout the series. So you can see like Icaros, she starts as like this subservient sort of being who is just like, you know, she doesn't have any emotions for herself. She doesn't care about like anything besides pleasing her master, which ends up being Tomoki. And that happens in like, I think the first or second episode, I don't know. But so that's not really a spoiler, but she just cares about like serving Tomoki, but she eventually, like, you know, she gains feelings for Tomoki. She, you know, wants to put more of her being into like being with Tomoki, and, you know, and forming that kind of relationship. And the overall arc of her, you know, her emotionless front trying to basically love is so compelling to me. And it's made me like other like media like that I didn't even like realize I've like connected to this. Like this is like kind of like the origin of a lot of media I enjoy, is like this storyline of, you know, girl with like no emotion or little emotion, like learning to love. It's like kind of just I don't know, it's really compelling to me. So I really enjoy that, and then like basically like the kind of things Ikaros does, like, she just like randomly like rubbing watermelons and just growing watermelons, having a fascination with watermelons. It's just like it's so random, but it's so kind of like heartwarming to see. And it really compels like you to like her, because she's like, she cares about things. She's like, I don't know, she's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so compelling. It's honestly just, I loved every minute of Ikaros being on screen. Or in on the page in the manga. So then we have Beta, who I feel like kind of had more character growth, because she starts as an enemy as well as most of the Angeloids after Ikaros. So she gets, she's an enemy, but then she gets kind of like beaten by Ikaros and convinced to just kind of like hang out, I guess. And she's kind of like plotting the whole time she's hanging out that, she's going to somehow get Ikaros and bring her back to her master. But through hanging out, obviously, she falls in love, or falls in some kind of like for Tomoki at least, and later that blooms into sort of a love. And then, since she doesn't, want to like upset Tomoki, or she knows that she can't fight Ikaros, she's kind of forced to eventually just kind of like stay with everybody. All right, so my camera died before, but as I was saying before, the basically like the growth of Beta was what I really like the growth of Beta and Alpha, and that can be said, I'm just gonna say that is to be said for all of the Angeloids, to Delta, to Daedalus, even to Estrella who is Delta, to Chaos, to Hiyori Kazune, to all of the Angeloids, and even I feel like Minos, the Master of Synapse, who is the big bad, kind of has character growth in the manga to a certain degree, which I feel like it kind of gets you more invested into these people as the story progresses. Now, I would like to say that another part that I like is the sort of the comedy aspect of the story, or like kind of like the more fan servicey aspect, which is Tomoki being this perverted kind of guy who is running into girls' changing rooms and obsessing over panties and stuff. It's kind of like, I feel like it's like an anime sort of staple, in my headcanon anyways, that there is always this perverted character, and in this anime that is like the throughput of the story, is the comic relief is Tomoki's perverse nature, and him thirsting over women, and him trying to sneak into these places and do these things, which is just very funny, since it's not in a real context, and he always gets his just desserts for trying to do it, which I think is it's very funny. Just him getting karate chopped or beaten or shot with Artemis lasers, or various other things. And then the last thing that I have to say that I like is just the overarching story of Synapse. Like, what is Synapse? What is its purpose? Why do they look down on the humans? Why do some of them want to be like the humans? Like, all of these things, that like these questions that are put into your head through the course of the story, that slowly resolve over time, and you can like kind of create your own kind of like headcanon up until the reveal, and you can have a satisfaction in knowing that, you know, your idea is like true, or maybe, you know, they subvert your expectation and they're like, no, this isn't like this, it's like this actually. It's very compelling storytelling, and the fact that, you know, they can give you this story while, you know, keeping your attention and making you laugh with Tomoki's stuff, and also like pulling at your heartstrings with the development and the emotional attachments to these characters, the angeloids, is, it's just a masterstroke. Honestly, like, this is one of the best things I've seen in anime, certainly, in shows and movies, like, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. I haven't seen a lot of films, and I can't really think of a lot off the top of my head that would be more compelling or than this. But not to say that there isn't. Now I'm gonna get into the bad parts about Heaven's Lost Property. And the number one thing is it's too short in the anime end, and in the manga as well. I feel like you could have extended. They could have, you know, he could have extended the story quite substantially. I guess it's like kind of like a, you know, a showing on his part that he didn't care to really extend it. He was kind of happy with how it was left, I assume, or maybe, you know, he just didn't have the what's it to continue the story more. But the fact that the anime didn't get to have that story that the manga did, it didn't, you know, it didn't show, you know, what happens to Nymph, how her story resolves. It didn't show what happened to Delta and Chaos and how their story resolves. It didn't show what happens to freaking, I don't know, like anybody, like Minos. It doesn't show the final sort of confrontation between Tomoki and Minos, which was cool. It didn't show any of the, like, you know, resolutions with Daedalus and Tomoki. It didn't show Hiyori's bit of the story at all, which I actually am just now remembering that her story is very tragic, and like her arc is just simply crazy. And I am remembering that they do show her in the anime, but it's kind of different than in the manga. But I do like her story in the anime more than the manga. So basically, I wish that the anime had, you know, the same gravitas, as it were, as the manga kind of did. The same, like, you know, the overarching, you know, story. It had the same sort of, like, you know, the full length of arcs between all of these characters, shown in sort of like a more, you know, like a more real format. Because the manga, like, you know, you can really envision things that are happening and like the way people are saying things and all of these things. But it would just be so much better if, you know, it had its own sort of like animation to go along with it. And I think that the anime does a lot better things in certain points than the manga. And I think in certain points the manga is far superior to the anime, mostly because it's finished. But that is my main gripe, is that, you know, the story could have went longer. There could have been more closure between all the characters. There could have been more shown in the anime that was in the manga. But obviously I understand that, you know, at the time in Japan, when this series was airing, it started to fall off in numbers or whatever. So it, you know, it got axed or whatever. And that's fair. But I would love to have seen it. I would love to live in a world where it got its full Day in the Sun. The other thing I don't like about Heaven's Lost Property, I think... I gotta think about it. You know what? Another thing I don't like is they never... So there is a part at the end in the manga where the president, what's her name? Mikako is in Synapse, and it's not said how she's there, why she's there, or anything. And she goes to Sugata, who was also there, trying to basically forced to be there by chaos to make the final wish. Which, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't make any sense, but just bear with me. And he ends up passing away there, and Mikako comes to his body, and she says some things, and she types on the laptop that he had plugged into the wish wall to try and undo his wish. And she types something in, and then she's like, she says something like, I don't know, very vague, and just, I guess, pulls Sugata away to somewhere else. Then it becomes revealed that whatever she had typed is added an extra wish to the wish wall somehow magically, even though even Daedalus, the one who had made the wall, thought it was impossible, and it would take 300 years for that kind of space to be added. And it's never really discussed how she knew that. Who is she? Why could she do this when Sugata couldn't? Sugata is supposed to be the brains of the show, and he is supposed to be like this wise man, but she, somehow makes that space with what she does, and seems like she knows her way around Synapse. So I don't know if she is somehow a mastermind amongst the story, or if she's, I don't know, somehow involved in Synapse, and she was just playing along the same as Daedalus was, in the same way Minos kind of was. But I don't know. I would love a resolution to that, and maybe there is something in the spin-off series. Maybe I should have seen the spin-off series before I did a review, but I feel like, from what I've read, it doesn't seem like there's very much else, even from the spin-off series. But I could be wrong, and leave it in the comments if, I should go back and watch that, if it is important. I don't know, I just wanted more. The thing is, the only real flaw I have with this entire thing is I want more. It's just, I feel like there could have been a whole nother thing. And yeah, I think that might be kind of all she wrote. Let me just look at... Hello, Tyler from the future here. I have just realized in editing this that Tyler in the past did not give a review for Heaven's Lost Property, so here I am now. So based on everything I've said in this video, and off of the deep thoughts I've had over this, I have to give this an 8 out of 10. It simply would have gotten a 10 out of 10 if it went longer, it got its full day in the sun, as it were. But as it stands now, I feel like an 8 out of 10 is fair, and it's still really good. I would recommend watching this, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Just kind of wrapping up here after this point. I feel like I could easily do a deep dive into the entire story. I feel like if this video gets 50 likes, we'll say 50 likes, then I will go through and I will just point for point go through the story and kind of like give like the key moments, kind of like what do you call that, like the thing that people do, kind of like a not like a video essay, but like kind of like a recap, like a Heaven's Lost Property recap, where I go through all of the key moments and, you know, the main plot points of the story, and just like kind of just do like an info dump, because I feel like some people would maybe like the story, but they wouldn't want to watch through all that. Not that it's that long of a series. Like the anime, it's like, what is it, like 10 something or 10 episodes a season or something? Hold on, let me just I can pull up how many episodes are in each thing. Let's see, the first season has 13 episodes. So 13 episodes in the first season. In the second season, oh, never mind, that's the OVA. So the one OVA, and then there's 12 episodes in season 2. So that's what, 30, or no, 13 plus 12 is 25. I'm dumb. Believe it or not, I am dumb. So that's 25 episodes of the normal series, I think two OVAs in the finale. Like that's maybe like 10-ish hours, maybe 10 to 12 hours of content to watch. But basically, to, you know, maybe doing a review, it could share this story to someone who might not want to put in that time and might not want to watch the series, or maybe sit through the gratuity of the fan service, because fan service isn't for everybody, certainly. But anyways, so basically the fan service, you know, I know it's not for everybody, and, you know, it tickled me, obviously, because like I kind of find that funny, but it doesn't really add that much to the overarching story. There are certain moments that build like the relationship between characters in the fan servicey bits with Tomoki or Tomoko, who is the female version of Tomoki in the series. Like, there's things with them that build sort of the narrative, but it's not always important. And I feel like maybe having a summary of the story where you could cut out those bits, or maybe show only certain parts of it just to get the important point across, could make it more digestible for just the average person, and show that this story, this impactful story, to other people. So if you would like to see me do that, maybe give this video a like, and if it hits, I think I said 50, then I will do that. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video, where I'll be reviewing whatever I watch next, which might be Sword Art Online. Maybe, so the list of animes that I said at the beginning of this video, if you would like to see me review any of those next, maybe leave a comment on this video and I'll see about doing it. Otherwise, leave a comment underneath this video of, you know, another anime you might want me to watch, and if it gets a lot of upvotes, then I'll add it to the list. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a nice, wonderful rest of your day, and thank you guys for watching.